Thanks, Amanda. The seats are all filled here at Liberty Park Stadium Court, ready for our women's championship final. The top-seeded team, Jen Kessy, April Ross. The 5th seeds, Lauren Fendrick and Brittany Hochevar. The first meeting ever. Got to be some butterflies for both teams.
Absolutely. When you're starting off in the first event of the season here on the AVP, you know how important it is. This is what you work for all year long, and when you're facing a team for the first time, of course they have played with different partners, but for the first time, there's a lot of pressure.
You're looking at Brittany Hochevar, 32 years old, born in 1981 in Fowler, Colorado. 6 feet, 150, now lives in Hermosa Beach, from a very athletic family. Dad was a hoopster, brother pitches baseball for the Royals. More on that in a while. So we're underway. This is April Ross, and she is rejected. Let's give you the numbers on Lauren Fendrick, 31 years old, born in Carlsbad, California. Hitter blocker out of UCLA, 6'2", 165.
She's a tough blocker, and Kessie and Ross say that they are going to have to get around that block if they're going to be successful this afternoon.
Hochevar spins one over to Jennifer Kessy, and Kessy pokes it down the line. Kessy, the elder statesman of the group, 36 years old. Of course, you know her as the silver medalist. She's at the net now as April Ross goes back to serve. So Ross, who was the second best server in London a year ago with 14 aces, gets ready to put the ball in play. High score at 1 early. Hochevar, and Hochevar pounds it down the line. She is a very energetic and competitive player.
Absolutely, and all she has to do is right the ship, become a little bit more consistent, and we're going to see her in the finals a lot more often.
Lauren Fendrick serving. She has 4 career wins. To her credit, loves Carlsbad, California. And the serve into the net. This will be the best 2 out of 3 sets. The first 2 sets to 21. Third and final set to 15 if necessary. Well, both teams with 4-1 records. As Jen Kessy will serve it. Here comes Fendrick. And Fendrick rolls it into the corner. Nice job.
Nice shot down the line by Lauren Fendrick. Kessie and Ross tell me that they like to start the match off going to Fendrick, trying to get her in trouble in terms of passing. If that doesn't work, they will switch that up and mix it up over to Hochevar.
Hochevar serving, white hat. Here comes April Ross. And Ross is roofed. So the second block for Lauren Fendrick. She's looking like a young Dane Blanton up high. Getting some blocking action.
She's good, and her form is solid right there. Sealing up that line, getting out, getting her footwork, and then penetrating over, and most importantly, targeting that block into the court.
The 8th AVP event together for Lauren Fendrick and Brittany Hochevar. And a chance to win today for the first time on the AVP Tour. Hochevar. Ross out of bounds. And a point. Well, of course, you know that beach volleyball is played on a surface. It's sand. And that brings us to our newest feature on the AVP Tour, Sand Dollars.
So far, the sand's felt great. It's not so shallow that we're getting hurt. It's pretty jumpy, you know, which is cool. Fans like that, you can get up and bang the ball.
The sand's kind of a thick grain, so it's a bit more shallow than where we're training in Manhattan.
Sand is great. It doesn't get too hot. We were worried about that coming here because we knew it was going to be really hot here in Salt Lake. So to have some sand that doesn't get hot is huge.
Sand dollars. Sand always so important, and when you're playing on an artificial court, when I say that, anything but the beach, it's very important that the sand is correct. You heard them say it's very grainy, so it doesn't pack down. It is a bit of a jumper's beach, but not too bad. The players seem to like it.
April Ross over the top. It's out of bounds. Was it off the block, or did Ross just hit it into the antenna? There's going to be a dispute here. Our first referee is Greg Beatty. Alan Siegel is our down ref.
Yeah, I think this ball went directly. Oh, it's almost simultaneously hits the antenna and Fendrick's right hand. So she is going to get the call. That's a very difficult call for the up ref, Greg Beatty, to take that. It's very important to see that, and you don't have instant replay in beach volleyball. Although you know that baseball has voted in instant replay. Yep. That will definitely change that game.
6-2. A surprise brewing here in the first set in Salt Lake City. Great crowds all weekend for the first AVP event of the season. Fendrick down the line, dug! Kessy gets it over. And it's going to be ruled out of play. The ball traversed outside the antenna. You see the little pole going up in front of the first referee.
It's just a fantastic defensive play by Kessie and Ross. Good drop block by Kessy. Cannot control it and keep it inside the antenna. Nothing can travel outside that antenna or it's ruled out of bounds immediately.
Well, Lauren Fendrick will serve it. She played with Brooke Niles from mid-2010 to the end of 2012, and now teaming in a new partnership with Brittany Hochevar. So quick bump, and the tap is good. So a little fast attack for Kessie and Ross.
Kessie and Ross are known to vary their attack. A lot of people set consistently the same way. They like to do back sets, high sets, low sets to throw off the block.
Now Jen Kessy will serve. I mentioned the silver medalist in London. Their only loss to Misty and Carey as that ball is hit out of bounds, so a point. Kessie and Ross, the 4 seeds in London. They won Pool D. They beat Spain, the Dutch, and Argentina. Then in the 16-team bracket, beat the Swiss, the Czechs, and then upset the Brazilians, the top team in the world at that time, Juliana and Larissa. So a silver medal to Kessie and Ross, quite an accomplishment for them.
Well, such a long road. When you're focusing on the Olympic, that's an Olympic dream that lasts an entire lifetime. So to finally get to 2012, accomplish what they wanted, playing against Misty and Carey in the final, it was a dream come true.
A successful spike for Lauren Fendrick. And now Hochevar wraps it into play. And off the hands, and a kill for Kessy. Now Lauren Fendrick has her team rocking early in this first set. She's got a couple of stuff blocks. They're serving her occasionally, and she is putting the ball away. So we're underway. Women's championship final, 8-6, Fendrick Hochevar. Chris Marlowe and Dane Blanton back at a capacity crowd-filled stadium court in Salt Lake City, Liberty Park. Women's championship final underway, and Dane, your keys for Kessie Ross today.
Well, Kessie Ross have been known to be one of the best serving teams in the world. They're going to have to serve tough. They're going to have to get their opponent definitely out of rhythm, and most importantly, neutralize Fendrick's block. Lauren Fendrick already 2 blocks, so they're going to have to deal with that and get around it.
Kessie and Ross already have 5 hitting errors in this set, and looping it over the top against Hochevar. Out of bounds. How about the keys for Hochevar and Fendrick?
Yeah, for Hochevar and Fendrick, they need to stay present, not get out of sync emotionally. They also have to serve tough. Hochevar has a really strong serve. And transition setting, it's one thing to dig the ball up in the air, but it's another thing to set it perfectly and get that point.
April Ross, 31 years old, cranks one down the pipe. Here comes Hochevar. And Hochevar chopping inside. We mentioned that she comes from an athletic family. Her dad played for the Denver Nuggets. Brother Luke, a pitcher for the Kansas City Royals. Her mom played 2 sports. The younger brother is fairly athletic himself, Dylan. Well, they've got it all going on in that family.
Yeah, Dylan's now coaching. He had that Tommy John surgery, so just amazing athletes in the Hochevar family.
Off speed goes April Ross. Ross has 25 career wins. She's tied with Janice Hare for 19th all-time, so she will continue to move up that all-time wins list. Of course, there's rumors that she's going to play with Carrie Walsh-Jennings down the line somewhere, but that won't come until later this season. Off the top, Fendrick hits. Ross has it. Now Hochevar. Big swing here. And she's blocked. April Ross diving and stuffing.
Yeah, Ross stuffing that ball, and as you mentioned, there is that talk of when that switch will happen. Kessie and Ross are committed for this entire season, but the last 2 international events I have heard is when Kerry Walsh and April Ross will end up hooking up.
Those 2 events in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Beijing, China. But right now it's Kessie Ross. They've been together for a long time, been playing together since 2007. Their 47th AVP event together, 132nd overall. And Fendrick hits another ball out of bounds for the team of Fendrick Hochevar. So 9-9, first tie of the set.
If you're Fendrick and Hochevar, you're exactly where you want to be. You want to hang close to the silver medalists, Ross and Kessy, until you get to the end of the set, and then you turn it up another notch.
I believe I said it was 9-9. It was 10-9, as you see. And now, make it 10-10. So good action. First set, AVP Salt Lake City Open. And what a beautiful setting. A serve. Hochevar, that thing dropped. Like one of her brother's curveballs, like an overhand curveball, drop ball. All right, for a report, let's go down to the sand. And Amanda.
Thanks, Chris. I'm here on center court, and it is so hot. I'm seeing a lot of the fans with umbrellas and obviously spraying themselves with water just to keep cool. But a key factor is to focus on the players right now. You may see some fatigue as it is 95 degrees and there isn't a cloud in the sky. Chris, back to you.
Thanks, Amanda. Certainly playing in hot weather, there's an art to it. You got to watch your feet. The sun is, as Ross taps it home. Did you enjoy playing in hot weather during your AVP career?
Well, I learned something early in my career. I went down and played in Rio de Janeiro with Mike Dodd, the legend, and it was about 110 degrees. He said, no high fives. You really pace yourself. Get under the umbrella when you can. Don't get too excited and celebrate. You have to conserve your energy. Not quite that hot here today, but you definitely have to pace yourself.
And hydrate, of course. Drink a lot of fluids. Here comes Fendrick, and it's blocked. So after a slow start, Jen Kessy and April Ross have it all going on. They tie it up and go ahead with that point at 12-11.
That's what they have to do, because Fendrick's a solid blocker. Increase the blocks on their side, even out this blocking battle, and score some big points.
Now April Ross from the center of the court pounds it down the middle. And Kessy tops it off. Point. And a 2-point lead.
Well, there's that experience that we are talking about. A team that has played together for many years and a silver medal they have earned. Ross and Kessy, they're serving the ball down the center of the court. They're putting some pressure on Hochevar and Fendrick, and those minor little errors start to add up.
We mentioned one loss for Kessie and Ross. That was to Crystal Engel and Teal Hunkus. That ended a 20-match win streak in AVP play for Kessie and Ross. They eventually came back and got revenge on Engel and Hunkus in the crossover, beating them there. But that's a talented young team, Engel and Hunkus, and a lot of competition this week on tour.
Yeah, they're a team that is going to be reckoned with. We're going to see them in a lot of semifinals and finals on the AVP tour. But anytime you play a team early and then you play them again late, I always favors the team that is going after the revenge.
Of course, Kessie and Ross, they also, as Amanda reported, knocked out the #2 seed Kerry Walsh Jennings and Whitney Pavlik in 2 straight sets, 21-16, 21-19. So all they have to do to really put things away is to come up big in the final. Here comes Jen Kessy, 36 years old, and she floats it down the line. So the wily veteran doing her thing. And a point.
They're starting to block balls at the net, really control them, and of course they're covering when that ball comes over the net. They're getting the little plays and making sure to get it when it counts.
15-12 first set. Kessie and Ross with the serve. Fendrick, and Fendrick takes a rip. A big kill for Lauren Fendrick.
We've got a few more of those.
And a timeout call.
mini volleyballs out there.
Fendrick at 6'2" is just huge. She gets up and just blasts that ball.
Kessie and Ross on a bit of a roll now. After a slow start, they had some early hitting errors, but now they're getting loose. They're mixing in some off speed, and they have the lead. Welcome back to the AVP Salt Lake City Open here in beautiful Liberty Park. I'm Chris Marlowe with Dane Blanton. Well, what's it like to be a professional beach volleyball, travel the world, make a lot of money? Listen to this.
My lifestyle is amazing. It's something so worth fighting for. I get to travel the country and travel the world with my family. Playing this sport I've loved since I was 10 years old.
I think I've been in over 30 countries around the world because of volleyball.
I get to work at the beach every day.
Everyone else is piled up at the stoplights above. I can see them up the street that we practice on, and you just see all these cars like waiting to try to fight to get to LA, and you know, we get to go down there and do our thing and then head to the gym after. So I love it.
Just the people that I've met along the way.
To have this type of environment where you are competing against each other, but you still really like each other, and you get to party with each other and see each other's families and babies, and it's just really special.
It's all great, everything. You just get to play beach volleyball and you never have to do anything else.
Well, it is amazing being a professional beach volleyball player. Like Angie Akers said, I've been to so many countries. She said 30 countries, and I would have never thought when I was a kid that beach volleyball would have taken me around the world. And it's just so fun to get down there and compete, especially under the sun on the weekends, and getting a paycheck for it is unbelievable.
The ball hit into the net by April Ross. The AVP has built such a tradition of excellence over the years, nearly 30 years on the beach now, and it's not only a lifestyle, but it's a way to live as a professional and be a professional. In the good old days of beach volleyball, wasn't much of that. There wasn't a professionalism in it back in the 60s and 70s.
And how Casey Jennings was saying, you know, everyone's driving to work, you're going down to the beach. It is such a great lifestyle, but you have to balance the competition, the lifestyle, and really manage everything with all the travel. It's very difficult.
16-14, Kessie and Ross, the Olympic silver medalists, have the lead. Fendrick and Hochevar struggling a bit here. What do they need to do to, they're just a point behind, but how do they ramp it up a bit?
Yeah, I think they're in a good position being just 1 point behind, but they have to be consistent. The little plays they have to execute on. You never know when it's going to be that game-changing play, even if it's an easy pass.
Serve floats long, and that costs a point. Kessie Ross, their last win together in Thailand at the end of 2012. Well, they have been a little bit up and down, as Dane detailed. Nice hand set and floating over the top. So Hochevar dishes out the nectar there, and Fendrick with the kill.
Yeah, beautiful shot right there. But as you said, Ross and Jen Kessy, a bit of an up and down year. It's very tough coming off an Olympic year. You throw it all on the line emotionally in 2012. They're really trying to get their footing here in 2013. And it has been difficult, but I think they're happy to be back in the winner's circle here as that ball goes just wide.
A good serve by Hochevar backing up Ross. And suddenly it's 17-all. Once again, the first two sets played to 21, win by 2. So Brittany Hochevar, former indoor star, and she's just wide. Hochevar actually replaced Misty May at Long Beach State University back in the day as an indoor setter. Hey, make sure to tune in next week as the AVP continues with the legendary Manhattan Beach Open. We'll have both women's and men's finals starting at 6 Eastern right here on CBS Sports Network, the granddaddy of them all. How many did you win, Dane?
I didn't win one, but I won Hermosa because they had to move it from Manhattan to Hermosa just a week before. But check it out. My trophy says Manhattan Beach.
Ooh.
So should I lobby to get my name on the pier?
You should. You should. That's quite an honor. Of course, if you don't follow beach volleyball quite as regularly, the winners in Manhattan have plaques on the pier. You go down and look at your name if you happen to be on the pier. And it's quite a tradition. Of course, Karch Karai, I believe, all time I believe he won 9 AVP Manhattan. So he's on the pier a lot. You have to hopscotch around to get over Karch.
I would definitely say that that would be the tournament that if I could go back in time, that's the one I would want to win.
Nice shot. April Ross pounds it into the corner. So make it 19-18 now. Kessie Ross 2 points away from victory.
I love this time in the set, the end of the set. This is where the pressure's on. This is where the big time players perform. And Kessie Ross having the 1 point lead, putting a lot of pressure on the less experienced team of Hochevar and Fendrick. How will they respond right here? Probably a serve down the middle.
Fendrick's got it. Looking to tie it up. Nobody up. Oh, a nice dig up 30 feet. Can Ross put it away? Yes! She's got it. Pretty nice set by Jen Kessy.
Well, I love that play right there by Kessie and Ross. Throughout the first set, you're taking notes on tendencies, on where people want to go. Fendrick has hit away, and that's what they did. They ate her up with a dig and put it away.
Set point now for Kessie Ross, leading 20-18. On 2 goes Hochevar. Little pinball defense, back the other way. Hochevar, white hat. Ross has it for the win. Stumbling. And that was a bad set, a little bit too tight to the net.
Yeah, it was too tight and too quick, and you could tell immediately it was going to be a challenge for Kessy to try to get it over the net, especially with Fendrick up there with that big block. So an opportunity lost for Ross and Kessy. They're going to take a timeout.
So on set point number 2, a timeout call. You see the massive crowd that has filed in to beautiful Liberty Park. This is the first time they have ever had a professional beach volleyball tournament in the state of Utah, much less Salt Lake City. But these are some dedicated fans, and they have been out the 3 days of the tournament, and it has been wonderful to watch. A reminder, there will be 6 more stops on the AVP Tour beginning next week at the Manhattan Beach Open. From there on to Cincinnati, Atlantic City, St. Petersburg, Santa Barbara, then the big finish in Huntington Beach. You can either join us on the sand or catch us on CBS Sports Network.
Well, Chris, as you were saying, this site here in Liberty Park here in Salt Lake City is amazing. We got here together yesterday, and we're pretty much in awe at the size of this. And the fans are out, and they're knowledgeable fans. I cannot believe all the years that I played that we never played in this city, and there's so many dedicated volleyball fans.
They've watched the AVP on television for 20, 30 years. A cute story, a woman comes up to me yesterday and practically elbows me out of the way to get to Dane Blanton so she can take her picture. In fact, I took the picture. Could you take the picture for me? I'm going to shuttle off into the background. And that spike is out. So on second set point, Kessie and Ross unable to finish. Now Hochevar will have it, and she will serve. Ross. Hochevar's got it to take the lead. Not yet. Diving is Kessy. Poking is Hochevar. And they have the lead. So averting 2 set points. Hochevar and Fendrick now will have a set point of their own.
Yeah, that has to hurt for Kessie and Ross. Having 2 set points, not being able to put away, and then another tight set by April Ross. You can see the disappointment on Kessie's face, very emotional after not putting that away.
Now, can Hochevar and Fendrick close it out? 21-20, first set point for them. Crowd standing. Hochevar, floating line. Ross, roofed, and that's it. First set, upset. Lauren Fendrick, her 4th stuff block of that set, and it is a beauty.
Well, that was awesome. You talk about a team with less experience turning it up in the end right there, getting points when they absolutely needed it.
We now have a feature here.
So Lauren Fendrick and Brittany Hochevar, they take down the top seeds, Kessie and Ross, in that first set. And we'll continue with more. Stay tuned. It's happening at Liberty Park here at the AVP Salt Lake City Open. First set of the Women's Championship Final going to Brittany Hochevar and Lauren Fendrick. Right now, let's go down to the sand and join Amanda.
Thanks, Chris. I'm down here with Brittany Hochevar. And Brittany, talk to me about those last 3 points and your momentum going into the second set.
You know, big thing for us is to just play one ball at a time, one contact at a time, not even 1 point at a time, because a lot can happen in a short amount of time, as you can see. These guys are great, and, you know, it's a matter of, like, just staying in each play and playing into the match, and not getting too worked up about going up big or going down big. The swings are emotional, but, you know, when Lauren put that clamp down on that last ball, it's a good feeling going into game 2. However, it's a brand new game. Anything can happen.
Well, thank you very much, Chris.
All right, Brittany Hochevar, she is a fiery competitor. You can feel the adrenaline coursing through her veins. She is pumped up. She only has one career win. That was in June of 2011. It was on the Wide Open Tour in Siesta Key with Lisa Rutledge. But to get a win on the AVP Tour, that would be special.
It would be extremely special. It would be a huge win for them, and the way they came back in that first set will give them a lot of momentum going into this second set. And I spoke to her prior to the match, and she said exactly what she told Amanda. We need to stay present. We need to play 1 point at a time, and if we do that, we hope at the end of the day we have a championship.
22-20 first set as we begin set number 2. April Ross struggled in that first set. She had 9 kills, but 8 attacking errors. Now she's got to play a lot better if Kessie and Ross are going to come back. The weather is hot, as Amanda reported earlier, 95 degrees. It is baking.
It's baking, and there's not really a breeze. It's just kind of very still, and you see the fans are really using their programs as fans. As an ace serve right there by Brittany Hochevar. Hochevar is such a great athlete, and she can do pretty much everything out there, and serving is one of her best attributes.
She's got a terrific approach and toss. Watch her. She starts with her right foot, I believe her right foot forward just a little bit. And then she gets a good spring out of it. Got a lot of topspin and then rips it. So she's giving Ross some of her own medicine. And as Ross taps it in to the cross-court angle.
Yeah, on that last jump serve, as you said, the right foot forward. Everyone has a different style. I love that right foot forward stance because it's a very quick approach. Not a lot of room for error.
Fendrick tapping over the top. If you're a player on the women's circuit, who do you serve, Fendrick or Hochevar? What's the general rule for them? I've seen Fendrick get a lot of serves despite the fact that she's 6'2".
Well, sometimes the knock on them is consistency. They're both good passers, but every once in a while they'll shank a ball here and there, and if that happens, you want to pick on whoever's doing that. Otherwise, it's a tough choice. You go to either one. Like I said earlier in the match, prior to the game, Kessy told me that they would start on Fendrick. If that didn't work, they'd go back to Hochevar.
Now April Ross set to put it in play. Down by 1. And her serve is long. So Ross with the miss.
If I'm Ross and Kessy right now, you got to look out. A lot of things are going the way for Hochevar and Fendrick. Every little off play, so they're going to have to pick up the pace, maybe serve a little tougher from that back line and really be disciplined on defense.
Jen Kessy, as you might imagine, after going from 2007 to 2013, loves playing with April Ross.
She is the ultimate teammate. She really is. She'll do whatever we need to do to win. She never gets mad at me. She never gets down on me. She's just really the ultimate teammate, and I'm really lucky.
So important when you have a teammate that supports you in the down times, because you can really be put in the phone booth when you're trying to hit and someone's blocking you back and forth, and the support of your partner is extremely important. That's all you have out there.
Yeah, easy to play when everything's going right. No problems there. The serve into the net for Kessy, but when things are going wrong and your partner serves it 3 feet into the net, then you have to have a little empathy there.
Well, that's where the chemistry comes in. I've played with many players. Some were supportive, some would really get angry when you didn't succeed and do what you were supposed to do, and you have to find the perfect fit in beach volleyball.
This is the Women's Championship final. That ball's good. Jen Kessie and April Ross in the blue and white uniforms. Fendrick and Hochevar with the hats on the other side.
Here comes April Ross from that left side, and she sees the court so well, and then outside of their hand for the cut shot, a very difficult shot coming in from the left side.
5-4, Fendrick and Hochevar. Bad pass, trouble. Oh, it was right down the middle in the hubby-wife area of no communication. And a big serve for April Ross.
Well, as I said, they're going to have to turn it up from the back line. They are such good servers, April Ross and Jen Kessy. Here comes a rocket right down the middle of the court. We call that the hubby-wife area because very difficult to make a decision. They almost run into each other on that one.
That can lead to partner breakups quicker than anything. Fendrick jamming out of bounds. That should be a point for Fendrick. Let's see if Kessy knows it or does she think she got the point. No. Fendrick into Kessy out of bounds, so point.
I like how Jen Kessy kind of sold it.
Tried to.
That it was her ball and walked back, but she knew the truth.
Now Hochevar. Ross on 2, got it. That's something that they like to do when they can, and Ross, playing on the left, a right side player, can do that rather easily.
You see that Kessie and Ross have made the adjustment because Lauren Fendrick is playing extremely well at the net. She was blocking balls. Instead of challenging her right now, they're hitting that ball over.
Yeah, they've gone to the off-speed stuff, haven't they? Tight to the net, off the top. Ross again. So April Ross going to the cut shot, the hard angle, and it's working.
That cut shot, she's living on it right now. It's difficult for a defender because it is such a sharp shot. Fendrick is in the back, almost in the middle of the court. She has to adjust over and just can't get there in time.
Second set after Fendrick and Hochevar won the first. And Chris Marlowe with Olympic gold medalist Dane Blanton. Amanda is here too on the sand patrolling as Fendrick rips one hard and a timeout. 7-7. Second set. Welcome back to Liberty Park. The 2013 AVP Salt Lake City Open. We're in the midst of our Women's Championship final. We apologize for a technical glitch at the end of that last point. It's 7-7. I'm Chris Marlowe with Dane Blanton. Well, there are a lot of young and upcoming players on the AVP Tour. One of them we want to showcase today in our Rising Stars feature is Brooke Sweat. Enjoy.
I actually got started playing beach volleyball right after college. My husband now, he grew up playing and he dragged me out to the beach, and it took a while for me to actually want to play, but once I got the grasp of it, I drug him out. I was like, come on, let's go do drills. I just got hooked. Well, since I'm a little shorter on the beach, I have to be a little more craftier. I have to have more shots. I have to be a little more precise with everything. I have to be pretty quick on defense and be able to put the ball away, so I have to have a variety of shots. We have to get better each match. We can't worry about who's on the other side of the net or what they're doing. If we control our side and our side out, our defense is good enough where we can win matches.
Oh, Brooke Sweat, who has been playing great volleyball, she and her partner had a third in Berlin on the international tour a couple of weeks ago, and eliminated by Hochevar and Fendrick in this one. But she is a very good player. Down the line goes April Ross. There's Ross, her partner Jen Kessy. They've been together since 2007. Meanwhile, the opposition, Brittany Hochevar and Lauren Fendrick, they first teamed up this season, 2013. They played 8 events together. And the pound. I mentioned it's 7 events. They had 2 fifths internationally, a 9th, and 4 17ths, but their good finishes are coming now. They seem to be improving as a team.
Yeah, they started a bit slow, but they are progressively getting better. They're getting that confidence, and you saw it in set number 1. where they took down Kessie and Ross, and now they're in the driver's seat here, tied at 8 in the second set. If they can keep it close, the pressure will mount for Kessie and Ross.
Ross tapping down the line, poked up, that's good. Fendrick turning. Now Ross has it. Will she go cut shot again? No, she pounds it down the line. Of course, April Ross, at one time, one of the great indoor players in America, won 2 national championships with Mick Haley out at USC. She was the National High School Player of the Year, but she just didn't like the indoor volleyball training and the coaches and people telling her what to do. She likes it much more out on the beach. She's kind of her own woman, as you say, and can do what she wants. She can train how she wants. She can pick her own partner. She liked that lifestyle a lot better.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is exactly the attraction of beach volleyball. It's not for everybody. Some people like that structure, having the coach, traveling with the team. On the beach, you're in control. You got to get your own partner. You got to get your own coach. You got to plan your own travel. And some people that are independent like that. I preferred that as well. As soon as I finished at college at Pepperdine, I wanted to get on the beach immediately. I did not want to play indoor overseas.
Yeah, you don't want coaches yelling at you again, huh? Over the top, popped up. Ross goes back and gets it. April Ross, nobody up. Fendrick there. Nice play. Great drop. Can she put it away? Not yet. She'll try it again. No, Hochevar on 2, yes. For Brittany Hochevar, a little changeup in there. You don't have to hit the ball 3 times, and sometimes going on 2 can be a huge advantage.
It's all about when you go over on 2. You have to be smart. She sees the courts, takes a look, and sees that open corner is wide, and she executes it to perfection.
10-9. Fendrick serving. Up the top, and Ross, after a subpar first set, has cranked it up a bit here in set number 2. Remember, she had 9 kills, but 8 errors, which is never a good hitting percentage. Your percentage is determined kills minus errors divided by attempts. Now, you want to have 20 kills, 4 errors in 30 attempts. That's a good hitting percentage.
Exactly.
Hochevar, got it! Rocket cross court. As we mentioned, Hochevar, 32 years old. I always had the feeling that she's a really good player, just waiting to find the right partner to come alive.
I completely agree. She is a prototypical volleyball player, built well, built very strong, very athletic. It's all about just figuring out the mental game, and as she said, she's been working on it. The communication with your partner and that mental game of being in the moment, staying present, not letting one play turn into 3 points given away. Really celebrate your successes, but stay in the moment.
Yeah, you heard her in the interview with Amanda talk about just bettering the ball 1 contact at a time. Focus on the pass, not what we're going to do later after we score 5 points. So now Fendrick's going to get a spiking attempt. Dug up, it's got to come over. They'll try Fendrick again. 11-all, second set, women's championship final, and Fendrick, a middle blocker at UCLA, played professionally after that in Puerto Rico and Turkey, and now out on the beach, and she has learned her lessons well.
She absolutely has it. She's very composed. That is what is most impressive. Not a lot of emotions up and down. She knows the task at hand and what she has to do, and she's been very composed. She's had a lot of fireworks, really bringing it. One of the more solid hitters that we've seen.
Now April Ross ready to crank it up. Trouble. Big trouble. Out of the net. It's over. Kessy. And Kessy easily scores. So the serve once again sets up the point. And Kessie Ross have the lead.
It's so important as a player, and Jen told me this prior to the game, that you have to go back with intent to score. Not just serve the ball in the court. You have to go back there thinking that you can earn a point.
High pass. Serves are starting to take an effect as Hochevar drills it off the top of Ross. Out of bounds. So Brittany Hochevar.
And she puts up the hand to say, you know, are you okay? A bit of sportsmanship after she blasted right off of that left shoulder. Big hit.
And Ross once again tapping. So they're playing Ross to go down the line on the tap. And as any good hitter will tell you, if you can see the block and the defense behind it a little bit, you have a big advantage. Obviously, she can. Some people can't.
Yeah, some people can't. They rely on the call. But what Brittany Hochevar is doing is she's waiting behind the big block of Fendrick, and then she knows exactly where she's going to go, and she anticipates it and runs it immediately.
Hochevar down the line, anticipation there. How do you think the best way is to play it? You have the block take one area. Now we're going to get into that when we come back. What would Dane Blanton do? The former AVP star. How does he play defense? We'll explore that when we come back. Stay with us. The 2013 AVP Salt Lake City Open continues. Women's Championship final, a battle going on. Right now, let's head to Amanda, who is out and about in the stands. Amanda.
Thanks, Chris. I'm here with husband and wife, Todd and Carrie. And Todd, what is it like being front row to all the action today?
It's indescribable, really, but it's absolutely amazing. I've been waiting for this day for years. I started playing beach doubles, if you call it beach, here in Utah in the mid-'80s, and we've been waiting all this time for the AVP to come here, and it's absolutely incredible. Great energy, great crowd. Boys. Go Farm Boys.
Well, and Carrie, you've grown up in Salt Lake City and been here your whole life. What is it like to see Olympians playing in your own backyard?
It's like a dream come true. It's freaking awesome. Hell yeah! Woo!
Chris, back to you.
All right, some fired up fans here in Salt Lake City, Utah. The crowds have been spectacular this week. As you see, the seats are filled to capacity. Chris Marlowe with Dane Blanton. This is Jen Kessy, her partner April Ross. They're getting a stern test. Brittany Hochevar and Lauren Fendrick, the 5th seeds, won the first set, 22-20. And here in the second set, tied up. We'll make it 16-15 now as Kessie Ross get the point.
I love Amanda in the crowd talking to those fans. I heard so many fans come up to me and said, we can't believe that the AVP is here. And they were so knowledgeable and they knew everything about the history. So they've been waiting a long time to have an event in their backyard.
The serve by Kessy is effective and Ross puts it away. So Kessie and Ross getting a little momentum now. They have a 2-point lead. Hochevar and Fendrick trying to hang on. Second set. Another short serve. That one's into the net.
And right there, a little bit contrary to what they want to do. That looked like a serve just to keep it in the court rather than to go for a point. Unless she was going for that dribbler on the top of the net, which is not easy to execute.
Couldn't quite affect the trickler there. Now Fendrick with a long run. Not only to get the serve before the blue stripe, but to get to the net quickly. Ross. And Ross has solved the problem of Lauren Fendrick. Early on, Fendrick blocking very effectively, had 4 blocks in that first set, but second set, as you mentioned, Dane, she's been able to move the ball around, use some off speed. Now she's back to the hard stuff.
Yeah, when you're a great blocker, you get in rhythms, and Kessie and Ross recognized she was in a rhythm, so they switched it up, went with a finesse soft shot, and now they're back to powering the ball.
18-16, Fendrick rejected. Kessie was there. Fendrick likes to hit. She's a power player, a former indoor middle blocker and pounder. And I wouldn't say finesse is her whole card, her strength.
No, she likes to bring it, and she's going to challenge. And I always love watching players that bring it, that challenge the block. And that's what she's doing right now. But she has to be careful because right now, Kessie and Ross are honing in on her tendencies.
Ross now has 20 kills in the match. Nice up. Kessy. Score it. Jen Kessy. So Ross and Kessy suddenly look like the silver medalists from London.
They're playing well, they're playing consistent, and April Ross is really executing that angle shot so many times that Hochevar and Fendrick, they have to make that adjustment.
First set point. Ross will serve it. Crowd standing. It's a rocket up 45 feet. Fendrick. And Fendrick, hammer time.
What I like about Lauren Fendrick right there, she didn't change her game. She brought it. Even with the pressure on, she challenged and went for it. That's her game.
Now, second set point. Kessie Ross, no, that's too many hits. So 2 set points averted just like they did in set number 1. But they have 2 more to go.
And they have to be very careful right here to settle down and not let what happened in the first set happen here.
Third set point for Ross and Kessie. Ross for the win, tapping down the line, she's got it. So the Olympic silver medalists rev it up. They win set number 2. We're tied at 1 set apiece. Third and final set coming up.
Right now, this will be just
It's been a spectacular weekend in one of America's finest cities, Salt Lake City, Utah. The fans have had a ball. And we're continuing with our coverage of beach volleyball, AVP style, on the CBS Sports Network. I'm Chris Marlowe with Dane Blanton. The 2 top women's teams, they have made it to the championship final here. Jen Kessy and April Ross, the top seeds, battling Brittany Hochevar and Lauren Fendrick, the 5th seeded team. Hochevar and Fendrick won the first set, 22-20. Ross and Kessy bouncing back set number 2. And here we are, third and final set. Only going to 15 here, win by 2.
It's a very quick set, the third set. You switch on increments of 5. You're only going to 15. That means it is a sprint. It's not a marathon. You have to get out quick. You do not want to play comeback. You want to get out quick, put the pressure on the other team, and take it to them. But this match has been very close fought match. And each and every time, Ross and Kessy have had the edge at the end of the match. They couldn't close it out in the first set, but did in the second.
Continuing to get the serves, and I think this is something that has surprised me, Dane, as a volleyball aficionado. How many times Fendrick and Hochevar have served April Ross? Normally, Kessy gets virtually every single serve.
Yeah, April Ross really lowers the hammer and is a big hitter, and you're right, they've been challenging her and going to her because I believe that Lauren Fendrick likes to block the heavy hit.
Nice up, Kessy shovels it over, and it's out of bounds. Just long. Pretty good up there.
It's a beautiful eye to watch that all the way. Not sure what the confusion is. Oh, the dig. They're disputing the dig. Fendrick was not happy with the dig on the side of Ross and Kessy, but she needs to keep that focus. They got the point. Get back and get ready to block.
Stick around.
Serve is into the net. So Ross and Kessy march to the other side. Kessy was talking about Ross as a partner. Now how about April Ross talking about her partner, Jen Kessy? Listen.
We're making plays on defense, and we're siding out at a pretty good clip. I don't expect us to side out perfect, but we've got to be making plays on defense. So I think that's just being patient and being smart.
April Ross, all business, Dane Blanton. Talking about siding out, old school. Fendrick, and Fendrick off the top of the tape and out of bounds. She lost her cap.
4-2.
You know, whenever you get to a third set, for the first 2 sets, you've really been studying the other team, knowing what they're bringing to the game that day, what they have. Are they hitting more angle? Are they shooting the ball line? And in the third set, it's time to execute and shut those tendencies down, and that's what the good teams do.
Here comes Fendrick. And she pokes it down. I think Fendrick and Hochevar need to go to plan B here. In the first set, April Ross had 9 kills, 8 errors, so they made a meal of her. Second set, April Ross, 13 kills, no errors. She continues to play well. They need to serve Jen Kessy and try that out because they've lost momentum here. They need to take a stab here. Let's see if they'll try it. Nope, back to Ross. Off speed, nice up. Poke set. Running it down, Ross. Oh, a big chance there for Hochevar.
That is unfortunate because remember I said about the tendencies. They learned it. They slid into the angle. They got it up, but they couldn't convert right there. A soft shot over the net. Maybe the set a little bit too tight for Brittany. And then that time she guesses line, and April Ross gets her again.
5-3, third set. into the angle is April Ross. So Kessie Ross score again. That's her second block of the day. Normally she'll do most of the digging for her team, but they can split.
Well, this is a huge play right here. After converting that last point, now she jumps huge in the angle and gets yet another point there. Up 6-3 with a solid lead here. Now make it 6-4 in the third set.
Yeah, and a pretty good shift to plan B for Kessie Ross, who started off serving Hochevar all the time, and Hochevar pretty solid. Now they're on Fendrick, and it seems to be paying some dividends. Side change, the AVP Salt Lake City Open Women's Championship Final. The men are coming up next, so stay tuned. Phil Dahlhauser and his new partner, Sean Rosenthal, they'll play Todd Rogers and Ryan Doherty, the Avatar, as that ball is spiked down. Ryan Doherty, the tallest player in the history of beach volleyball, 7'1½". He's coming up next.
Yeah, he's huge. I stood next to him and I couldn't believe I met him finally for the first time.
I thought that same thing.
And I was like, wow. Yeah. I do not want to hit against this guy.
Now Ross serving. It's a shorty into the net. So a break there for Hochevar and Fendrick. They've got to get going. There's really not a good side, bad side here. Do you think both sides are hot? There's grandstands blocking what, there's minimal wind. See a lot of fans with plates fanning themselves, trying to keep cool here.
It's very still. It's not like there is an advantage on one side. Maybe the sun is in the eyes a little bit more on the Kessie Ross side, but that's about it. Very still, very hot.
8-5 Kessie Ross. Now another chance here for Fendrick. And Fendrick teeing off again. Ross diving into the angle. So Fendrick is bringing it, but it's being brung back or being sent back.
What I said, there's tendencies. They're honing in on the tendencies. Good teams realize what is going on the other side of the net, and you've seen April Ross making that big blocking move against Fendrick because she knows she wants to hit, and she is shutting the door on Fendrick right now when they need it most.
On the men's side of the bracket,
April Ross and Jen Kessy in command here in the third and final set. 9-5 our score. Once again, coming up soon, Phil Dahlhauser and his new partner, Sean Rosenthal. They are going to take on Olympic gold medalist Todd Rogers and his partner. They call him the Avatar. You'll know what I mean when you see him. And that is Ryan Doherty. Our men's championship final coming up next here on the CBS Sports Network. Been a great tournament for Hochevar and Fendrick. They have to be thinking back to that one little play when they finally dug Ross. They got a knuckle set right up on top of the net, couldn't put it away, and now Kessie Ross taking advantage.
Yeah, I believe that the match could have went either way. That was a turning point, and the experience of Ross and Kessie right now is starting to dominate as they're up 9-5.
Fendrick in trouble. Nice swing off the net. She turns it down the line on Ross.
Beautiful set by Hochevar in the backcourt, getting it in a position for her partner Fendrick to put it away. A very difficult point scoring opportunity, but they pulled it off.
So a side change. Brittany Hochevar ready to rock. The last player cut from the 2004 Olympic indoor team. Good serve. And it's out of bounds. So Hochevar spins one over to Kessy, and she gets a point. Let's see if they stay with Kessy for a few serves here and see what's up.
And I love the attitude. Brittany Hochevar going back, knowing that they need points, not just floating the ball over and getting into play and relying on her blocker partner. She's going for aces.
Back to Ross. Off the net. Hochevar's got it. Good set. Hochevar. Not yet. There's the hands. And over the top goes Fendrick.
Wow. A little
nice play.
Rainbow shot. Not too high, but it caught.
Yeah.
The defender, Jen Kessy, playing a little bit shallow, and that ball falls in that coffin corner.
Kessy stuck in no woman's land and right over the top.
That was a great off-speed shot. We talked about Fendrick only being a power player. That was a huge finesse shot at an opportune time.
Once again, Fendrick and Hochevar have never won on the AVP Tour. This would be their first, and they're within striking distance. Down the line, Hochevar couldn't quite manipulate it.
And she's there. You can tell that she is reading very well right now. Hanging in the middle of the court, and then on contact, sliding into the line. She just couldn't bring that ball back into play.
Still not sure why they're not trying Jen Kessy a little bit more. I know they're getting a point or two here on Ross, but it hasn't come easy. Now, April will serve it. Over the net, Kessy, and another service winner there. When you get the other team to pass it over the net, you've done your job.
And you can see the disappointment on Brittany Hochevar's face. Missing an easy rolled jump serve with a lot of topspin. You have to control that. You have to keep it in system.
11-8. Good pass there. Fendrick, cuffing line. Lauren Fendrick.
She's been impressive. She really has. Bringing the heat when she's needed to. And then when we thought that's all that she was bringing, she's starting to bring out finesse shot. Nice corner roll shot over the block with a lot of control. It's not all about hitting every time. You always have to have those finesse shots in your arsenal.
Good serve there. Here comes Kessy. And Kessy rockets one cross court. Once again, in case you missed it, Kessie and Ross have not won a tournament this year. They've been playing on the international circuit. They've played 7 times, and they have not been able to come up with a victory. They've got a 2nd, a 4th, and 4 ninths. So they've been up and down and would love to get their first win on American soil today. And they're closing in, just 3 points away as Fendrick pounds it down the line.
Big hit as she comes in right there. She faces cross court and then crushes it down the line. Very deceptive in her hitting style.
Fendrick and Hochevar still hanging around. A serve to Kessy. Kessy crosses it out of bounds. So within 1 now.
Well, that's huge. We've seen a few times at the end of sets, April Ross and Jen Kessy giving up easy points.
Something they did not do in London a year ago. Well, back on Ross. And Ross pokes it down. I believe there a service warp there. You serve Kessy, she hits it out of bounds, then you serve Ross. Why? Why not stay on Kessy?
Absolutely. When someone makes an error, you do not want to let them off the hook by missing the serve or going to their party. You want to continue to hammer it and keep the pressure on.
Ross has 29 kills after a slow start in the first set. Fendrick off speed. Ross read it perfectly. April Ross blocked. Kessy will take a swing. Cross, socked up and over. Ross puts it away. April Ross.
How about April Ross? That cut shot, just making a living off of that cut shot. So deceptive, and Hochevar and Fendrick just cannot run it down.
So now Ross and Kessy will have their first match point. Kessy's at the net. Ross, one of the dynamic servers in the world, into the net. So the second set point coming up. Every set it's been exactly like this. Kessie and Ross going for the kill. Hochevar and Fendrick trying to hang on.
They're gonna have to manufacture some points right here.
Fendrick on second set point. Oh, it's an ace! Over near the line. A beauty. Her first of the day.
The bottom just dropped out of that serve. As soon as it got to the plane of the net, everything dropped out. Almost like a changeup in baseball. The bottom drops out. A very difficult knuckleball type of serve that just completely caught Kessie and Ross off guard. Look at that. As it hits the net, it just dies towards the line and towards the sand. Very difficult. I always found that serve much more difficult to receive than a jump serve with true topspin, because the ball has just so much movement on it left and right that it's hard to track.
Brittany Hochevar and her partner Lauren Fendrick are so close. They can touch it, they can taste it, but it's not there. They have to get to 14. It's win by 2. If you get that point to 14, then you've got a little leeway. You have a shot. You have a shot.
Yeah, remember when I talked about you never know when that play is going to happen that's going to be the difference. If Hochevar and Fendrick don't win this, they're going to be very upset. They're going to know that it was one play away because they've played an excellent match so far. Now that can they tie it up and take this thing into overtime and get a win?
Here we go. Crowd is standing. It's the 3rd set point for Kessie and Ross, and they're on serve receive. So Fendrick will serve it. Can Kessie and Ross put one away to win it? It goes to Ross. Ross, cut shot. Oh, and Hochevar was there. She could not reach it. And the women's championship final is over. April Ross on her 31st kill. Kessie and Ross champions here in Salt Lake City.
Well, April Ross was challenged today. She got so many serves, and she really showed that she can vary her shots. She lived on that cut shot. How fitting for that cut shot to go. Hochevar was on it, but she took a little off it, and that one was short into the court, but a huge match by both teams.
Now, April Ross and Jen Kessy, they finally break through on the AVP Tour. They win their first event since 2012, and it's a bit of the bubbly for the folks here in Salt Lake City. What a beautiful day for April and Jen. Women's championship final in the books. Kessie and Ross win it. Stay tuned, our men's championship coming up. Dahlhauser, Rosenthal, Rogers, and the Avatar. Stay tuned.